Hello, I'm just going to take a moment and pull out my cards while people come in, and then we'll have a little bit of a talk about things, and then we'll do some readings. But first I'm just going to take a minute to get stuff out. Let's see. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say good morning. I've been thinking a lot about how to show up, how to be of service, how to be available, how's the best way to create an impact, to help the masses, right? So that's what all of us are kind of trying to figure out right now. Good morning, Shauna. This whole process that we're going through of shifting, I think it's right on time having something like Facebook Live come and become available. I've been doing energy play on my Zoom, in my classroom in Zoom for the last, about 8 or 9 months now. And it seemed like that was a really hard way for people to show up. And I'm realizing that not everybody is comfortable or ready to be seen. So, and the fear of showing up in that way is a fear of being seen. So this way of showing up in Facebook Live is a really great tool that we can use. So if you don't feel comfortable commenting, or you don't feel comfortable showing up in your own way, maybe this is how we can show up together. What I wanted to say is that by coming together in these spaces, coming together consciously, even if you're viewing this video later, or if you're attending it right now, we're creating a collective, cohesive consciousness that allows us and enables us as a group to pull up more of what's ready to be released from the collective, from this human collective. Each person who shows up to a group healing session brings all of them as well. And oftentimes you'll find that other people can bring up and resonate things for us that we couldn't resonate for ourselves, that we couldn't find in ourselves, that we hide from ourselves pretty efficiently and effectively. So this is one of the reasons I love the group healing format. Now, what I've been thinking is I'll try doing it this way for a little while. What I have when I wake up in the morning is a stream of messages from people, and I love them. I love all of you. It's so awesome to have such a beautiful community, and to have so many people supporting me and supporting my work, supporting my growth. Honestly, I love you guys. You guys are amazing. You guys make it worth showing up each day. So I thought, what if in the mornings, if maybe 9:30 in the morning is a time we can show up together and share what we're doing. So during this feed, when I'm on, I would love it if anyone feels like they want to share something, or if they need some support, or if they're struggling with something. If you feel comfortable sharing it, please do. If you don't feel comfortable, you can send it to me in a PM, and I'll kind of gather those things up and see what is the collective, and that's what we'll talk about the next morning. So I thought this might be a better way for me to show up for more of you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to what I wanted to talk about today, what I'm noticing and hearing, and a lot of confusion around. So right now we're going through this energetic shifting, and I'm sure that you've heard about it. It's over the top how many times it gets discussed, and so everybody's kind of hearing this, transitioning from a 3D to 4D, 4D to 5D. What does all that mean? I'm not going to get into a lot of that. I think there's a lot of that out there already. What I am going to get into is, what is it that we're doing in this process as individuals? Well, You've heard of unity consciousness, you've heard of the collective consciousness, collective reality, collective views. And we also know that we are experiencing like a matrix-like reality, that our thoughts, our actions, our decisions are actually impacting our reality and creating our reality to be something that is of our need, of our manifestation. So how do we take control of that? How do we use that? And what does that look like when you're coming into unity consciousness? This individuation of the creation versus the co-creation and the co-consciousness. I think that's where people get really hung up, and we have so much in our culture that divides us, that's decisive, right? So it makes us say, I am not like that, I am like this. I am not a Trump supporter. I am not for big oil. I am not whatever I am, right? We define ourselves by this concept of what I'm not. And that ties back into what I talked about the other day with the protection versus allowance mentality. So long as you're defining yourself by what you are or what you are not, then you're still creating that division. You're still saying, I am separate from you. And I am better because I don't embody that aspect. As long as we're doing that, you guys, we're going to keep suffering. You're going to keep having pain. Things are going to keep breaking in your life. Things are going to show up in your life that challenge this perspective and this viewpoint. Now, I'm speaking from personal experience. I've been personally dealing with challenges. As always, we all will be right now. That's part of removing and releasing that which defined me. It releases us from having to participate in the dialogue, in the exchange of what I'm not. If we sit there and go, what if I am? What if I'm just as closed, just as limited in what I believe to be true as that other person whose beliefs upset me? What if that's a part of me too? Can I still love me? Can I still accept me? For some of us, we need the external learning system because the external learning system allows us to not internalize our own self-hatred, our own fear of self, right? It allows us to, instead of owning our own behavior, we externalize it and say, look at how this person has behaved. So when we're coming into unity consciousness, what's happening is the divisions between you and another person are getting smaller and smaller and less obvious. And as you're spouting what you want that person to recognize they're doing, this little voice in the back of your head is going, I think you're doing that to me too. And that's the trick. That's how you get out of the externalized mirroring system, the externalization where that person is separate from me and I exist over here, is by saying, oh, are they serving to show me a mirror of my internal climate? Is this experience that I'm surviving, that I'm struggling through, is it really carefully designed by me as a message to say, this is how I live within us. This is a part of me that I have rejected. This is a part of me that I do not allow. So I'm going to tell a short little story about this. For myself, in my personal, intimate life, I struggle with really revealing my innermost intimate feelings, my emotions, my desires, my dreams. I struggle having dreams sometimes because of the way I was raised. There was no continuity, there was no consistency, and a dream was something that never came to fruition. So I learned young, don't dream. Don't do that. Don't express your feelings. It makes you vulnerable. Don't share your vulnerabilities. It makes you more vulnerable, right? So that was my programming in childhood. Now, often my students and clients are people who struggle with that same thing. So I know that I'm learning this because it's a collective problem, a collective issue, and this is part of my work. So I chose a partner that also struggles with that, and he struggles with knowing what his own intimate details and feelings are. So we are mirroring that for each other constantly. Now, I don't like to think that there's something wrong with me. I like to think, oh, I've got my stuff all figured out. I'm all together. I'm consciously working on myself. I'm aware. The truth is that as long as we're still engaging in the external system, there's things we're not aware of. Other words, we wouldn't need it to be shown to us from the external. So, as my husband was bothering me one day, and I felt like, oh, he's jackhammering again. He's really jackhammering. I remembered I chose somebody who is going to be strong enough and hard enough to hammer through my defenses, my protections, and help me find what's underneath. And that's something we've committed to in our marriage. However ugly that looks, we're committed to letting the other one have the space to open themselves up and work on and heal this aspect that's broken inside them. It's one of the reasons that our marriage has lasted so long, through a lot of hardships, through a lot of challenges, through a lot of struggle, because we give that space. So my first inclination when he's jackhammering at me is to go, God, why are you being such a jerk? Why are you being such an asshole? Can you just back off? Back off, right? And I learned something in meditation about pausing and allowing whatever that person is doing to be perfect and necessary. And that I, in fact, have created this space in order for him to do that very thing. I, in fact, like a puppet master, control the energies enough around me. It's my matrix, remember, that I have requested him to behave this way. I just forgot that was his stage direction. So now I need to go, why? Why do I need him to behave that way? Why do I need him to jackhammer at me right now? Oh, is my heart closed right now? Is it completely shut down? Am I living in a headspace right now? Sure am, because look at all this that I've been thinking about. Look at all that's been stirring up there. So I pause and I release the external and I thank him. I thank him for playing the role, because that was an uncomfortable role to play. Thank you, honey. And now I'm going to try getting back into my heart space. So I bring my consciousness down, bring it down through what I wish I could say, through all of what I'm seeing, down into my heart. And what am I feeling right now? The first time I did this, I just exploded into tears. I just burst into tears, and I stood there crying. And he stopped immediately, and he's like, whoa, what's going on? Are you okay? Did you have a bad day? Can I get you anything? Do you need some help with the dishes or something? He's trying to help. So here, where I could have taken that experience and vilified him, and it could have been proof of how his behavior is like a jackhammer and how he behaves this way towards me and it hurts me, I could have gone that route with it. However, by allowing his behavior to be perfect, to be something I created, to be something I called to me, I was allowed to see how closed my heart was in that time, in that moment. So this is how powerful it is to understand the external system, to understand mirroring, to understand what's going on underneath the surface. No teacher, no mentor can really tell you that. Nobody can tell you that in a way that you're going to believe until you tell yourself it, until you hear it yourself, from yourself. This is why meditation is so important in a daily practice. This is why when you work in my classes or you work with me in any way, my first step with you is to get into meditation space. Not to go sit in a special quiet room with incense and a candle and sounds and blah, blah, blah. But to get into a state of present awareness and allowance, which is what meditation is one tool to enable you to find your way into. Once you can find your way into it through a meditative practice, you can bring that meditative state into your daily life. And then you notice when you're out of presence. You notice when you're out of alignment, when the external has gotten into a chaotic state and drawn you away from the center, from the self. That's how you identify self-work. What do I work on next? You know, I hear people say, oh, I've already dealt with that. I've already done that. I've already handled that. I'm all over that. I hear that a lot from healers especially. And if you're in that trap of thinking, I've already addressed that, I've already done that, then you're not looking at the layers. You're not looking at the deeper self-work. There's too much externalization going on, folks. And I'm guilty of it as much as anyone else. So right now, this process of coming into unity consciousness is accepting that external. It's all about looking at that person across from you and saying, wow, I'm so glad that you're a part of this whole race of people. I'm so grateful that you are here and present as a part of everything. Because if you can accept that person and find a way to see how they're serving the whole consciousness, if you can see that and find that way, then you can actually accept yourself that much more. And that's the game. Finding a way to fall in love with you. To forgive you for separating yourself from the collective. To forgive yourself for forgetting that you're God. That you're a piece of God here creating. It's all about forgiveness. The external's only there to serve, to show us what we hide from the internal. So that's my little lecture for today. If you want to learn more about that or work more on that, that's essentially what my Life Mastery class is all about, is learning how to really master this understanding of the external. Not so that you can learn how I work or what I believe, but so that you can have a collective of tools, perspectives, concepts, so you can begin to build your own mastery, your own understanding of your creation. Because that's what it is, it's yours. So I'm going to go back through and see who commented. And then I will start doing card pulls for you guys. I think Shauna was the first one. And at the end, what I'm going to do, let's see. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but Shauna broke her leg. And it made me think, oh, maybe we can do a meditation at the end that would be supportive of healing work, healing. So Shauna, let's see. Well, the tarot wants to talk to you. And thanks to my parent-in-laws, Bapuji and Mummiji, thank you so much. You guys replaced my favorite tarot deck that has been a bit used. Okay, Shauna. There's no surprise. So Shauna and I have a big fair coming up on this Saturday. We're going to be down in Corvallis. And Shauna, what we got for you is community. So this is the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups is especially in this deck, I love it. The image is three mermaids, and they're in a circle together. They're in this sphere together, and they're each holding a cup, a vessel, and they're offering it into the center, into each other. So this is really about a time of community for you, and reliance, and understanding, and allowance, and receiving, and giving. So no surprise that you're needing... that you're getting some support with receiving and giving and seeing your community, which is exactly what you came here for. Yay! So awesome. Okay, so let's see. Somebody's at my door, but they're just going to have to not get the door answered. Let's see. So Julie, I think you're next. I think the goddesses want to talk to you. Yeah. See which goddess wants to say something. You got Amphitrite, another mermaid. This one, she represents willpower. She's a sea goddess, right? So, let's see, there we go. You can kind of see her. One of the aspects of this card, I get her a lot actually, is about how we have to understand and embrace how much our will, our desire, our unconscious thoughts are impacting the energetic climate around us. So one of the things that she does is unconsciously creates tempests in the ocean as a response to her anger and her frustration. And willpower is really about the ability to feel and experience something, have a desire, have a dream, but to not act upon it. So another piece of that also is to recognize the power of your willpower, your power. That your will is creating what you desire, which is what we were just talking about, right? So what is the unconscious motivator that's driving right now? And begin to pull that into consciousness awareness, right? Bashar talks about a bad habit or a bad behavior. It can only last so long as it's unconscious. Once it becomes conscious, it becomes a choice. And that's how, if you find that you're still acting out or behaving in a certain way or reacting in a certain way, you have not yet seen how that's actually serving you. That's what's not yet been identified. So that's the key there, is to see, how is that serving me? How does this behavior help me? What am I actually trying to create? And what I've found is that any kind of maladaptive behavior that's defensive or in a response reactive state is designed to create space for yourself when you have yet to learn how to do that. So let's say your behavior is to get flustered and irritated and be short, I can't be on top of it. So I'm just as an example. If that's a problem response, well, you're going to first of all have lots of opportunities to practice different ways to respond. So you'll have lots of situations that continue to come up until you find the way that you like responding, that works for you. Second, you have to understand that way of behaving creates space for you. It makes it so others don't want to help and support because they're like, oh, I don't want to overwhelm her, or I'm going to give her some room, So sometimes that's how we're actually protecting ourselves. And we may look at it as a bad behavior because we don't like the way that it's manifesting, but we like what it's manifesting. Well, that's kind of like saying, bad ice cream. God, you taste so good. So it's up to you. Do you want it to continue to be a bad thing, or can it be a good thing for what it's doing for you? Thank it, receive it, and move forward. And know that when you need space, it's time to speak up. Not react and respond, but to speak up and say, you know what, right now, I've got a lot on my plate. So you can put it over there, and I'll look at it when I get a chance, right? Okay, so let's see. Who's next? Zion. Hi, Zion. Let's see. Let me see. So one of the decks that I really, really rarely use, though I've had it forever, is the Phoenix Past Life deck. And I really don't know these cards at all, but they're who want to talk to you right now. So we will go ahead and give them a voice. These are by Susan Shepard, and honestly, they're just really powerful. That's part of why I don't like using them. So the Past Life deck, one of the things that it does is helps us to understand kind of what is, how do I put it? What kind of energy is impacting me? How is the theme of this life being impacted right now by another expression? Now, we could get into a big, long discussion about this, which I won't do, I promise. But most of us who are working in a similar way as what I do easily accept and understand that time is not a reality. The time is purely a manifestation of a linear process of experience. So once that becomes a reality for you, as I know it is for you, Zion, you begin to see that past lives are not past lives. They are current expressions. They are current lives that are going on. And they're all happening at once. And every aspect of that life is happening at once. But what's occurred is there's a bleed through between this strand of expression and that strand of expression. So perhaps these strands are working a theme of your expression, right? So when we're working on past life stuff, when you hear people talking about past life readings or working on resolving a past life, you're not going to resolve it. You're not going to make it go away. You know, it's already there. It exists. What you're looking for is, how are these themes coming together, because that's a greater theme that I'm working and learning. So that's where I think it's valuable to look at and understand not past lives, but your multiplicity of your expression. Where is your multiplicity turning into like that clump spaghetti? And do we want it to be a clump of spaghetti? Usually we do, because it's a weight of some bigger issue that's being looked at. So the past life card that you got was, this is 21, and it's the Russian Byzantine Cathedral is what the image is. Now, I'm just going to read some of the briefer description for this. So they have a key phrase, which I love, and this is perfect for you. I enfold while I expand. And that's one of the things, you know, I feel is so important for us to understand. Why I mentioned earlier, when you say, I'm already done with that, I've already dealt with that, you mean you found the fold of that? Okay, great. Now let's start unfolding and unpacking and opening that up. So, you know, this is talking about a Russian expression, which is not surprising for you either. Jupiter is the ruling planet for this, the light of generosity and expansion. And your work is so generous and so expansive for so many people. So this is something you've been doing for a very long time, my love, and I'm sure you know that as well. Here's what this little paragraph says. There's a wide scope of mind and soul and the ability to conceptualize or think big. Attraction to religious ritual and opulence, fascination with opposites and the mystical workings of good and evil, warm, open, and loving, will accept or tolerate almost anyone as long as respect is given. I think that's very true of you too. Freedom loving with an ability to inspire others to greater things. So this is your life work, love. That's awesome. And I think you're not too terribly surprised by that. So, let's see. Who's next? Drew. My niece, Sierra. Hi, Sierra. All right, let's see. Which deck wants to talk to you, my little one? The Messenger Oracle. See, this is a great way to spend the morning, right? We can do this for a little bit each morning instead of me trying to have frantic 40 chats or whatever it happens to be that day. Let's see. Sierra. Interesting. So what you got was, this card is entitled Heed the Messengers. So you're getting a lot of signs, and I think you mentioned this to me, that you're starting to notice more of the synchronicities, more of the signs of things, more of what's going on around you, all of these things that are happening and occurring in your life. Now, signs can be big and signs can be little, right? A sign can be a huge in-your-face, a car accident, a house burning down, a breaking of your leg, Shauna. But signs can also be small, right? The other day I was driving along and I was talking with somebody about how I feel like the flow is really strong right now, and the energies are flowing, and it's if you're resisting it, it's a big bash that you get, like a flood, if you're trying to stand stock still in the flood instead of flowing with it. And I said, but I also feels kind of like if you just allow everything that's coming, because I feel like that's what it's all getting us to, then there's just so much there for us. And I look up and there's a car right in front of me with 888 as the license plate. So 8 is that infinity sign, is infinite abundance. Signs are everywhere. I love driving around with one of my friends. He's kind of like the sign reader, and when we're having a conversation, literally the confirmations are, look, there's the billboard that has, I'm hungry. Hungry? Yes, I am hungry. Oh, well, maybe we should get some burgers. Oh, burgers? There's a sign for this burger joint. Like, everything is, it's just, everything flows, and he's so good at spotting those little signs. Like, he's just perfect at it. So this is calling to you to check out those signs more, Sierra. What are they showing you? Where are they leading you? Are you having a conversation, then you hear something about it? Are you hearing something 3 times or more? That's kind of a rule of thumb in the community is, hey, if this is your 3rd time of hearing it, it's time for you to do it, or listen, or follow through with it, or it's for you, right? It's a message for you. Start learning what signs represent. Start learning what the number vibrations represent. Is a good way to do this. You can each number has a vibration, a frequency that it's expressing. Just like each note, we label it A, B, C, and D, but that's a frequency that we're labeling. The same is true with numbers. So numbers are one of the number 1 ways that the angelics and other dimensional expressions will express through here. It's an easy way for them to manipulate vibrations and to be like, here, boom, here's a message. So learn numbers. If there's certain animals that you're seeing a lot, then find out what they mean. What kind of spirit animal are they? What totem are they? What do they represent? So that's the message there for you. Harvey. Hello, Harvey. If you guys don't know already, our favorite Indian food place in town is Harvey's Mom's Place. It's a cart on 12th and Morrison. Is it Morrison? I think it's Morrison. It's one of those Max tracks. It's the last Max track. Yamhill. I should know. I've only been going there for like 13, 14 years. They have the best Punjabi food. It's all vegetarian. It's super delicious and so good. Okay, so Harvey, let's see which deck wants to talk to you. The Thoth Tarot. Let's see. Oh, I love this card. Okay, so this is the universe, is this card, the universe. There's a lot there. So the universe card and many other tarots is called the world. The world card is the last card in the major arcana cycle, and it represents perspective, getting that bigger, grander perspective, the full view. So one of the ways tarot is powerful, why I prefer tarot for most of my readings when I'm doing one-on-one readings, is because what it does is it says there's this human condition that we all experience, that we all go through. And in the human condition, we have a set of experiences that must go through in order to fully understand the entire process. So the world card is where you're at the end of all of those things. So you start by being the fool. You're not actually in the lesson yet. You're kind of the fool and you don't know anything yet. You're just waiting to see what happens, waiting to experience. So then you drop in and you're the magician and you're learning, okay, what's a mastery of what are my elements that I work with? What tools do I have? And then learning, okay, now how do I have an idea about it? Now how do I manifest the idea? Oh, now how do I organize what I've manifested? And you keep building until you get to the 10 and you're at the tower where it's time to deconstruct the whole thing and start going down under the process of learning from what you'd constructed. Now coming back around, the world's that last card before you exit back out of the major arcana, and that lesson cycle's complete. So let's say what you're trying to understand is your true creation. You know, what's my life path? What's my blah blah blah? This is telling you you're at the end of a major growth and learning cycle, a process of understanding. Now it's time to let go of the battles, of the conflicts, of the beliefs, and just start looking at what did you go through? What have you been experiencing? What is the greater message that's behind it all? Have a universal perspective. Come outside of the singular concept of I have been, I have experienced, I have endured, this is my, and step into a universal consciousness that says, I have experienced this strand of consciousness, this expression. I have understood these hierarchical positions. I know what it is to experience from this place. And then release it up into Source. Source needs to remember and experience from your perspective as well. That's part of the whole process. All right, let's see. I think I'll just do a couple more and then we'll do the meditation. Oh, Nicole, I love you too. Such a sweetheart. Let's see. Ganesh wants to talk to you, Nicole. I always love the Ganesh cards. I'm a bit partial to Ganesh. I'm pretty sure my husband's like an incarnation of Ganesh, or a piece of him. Interesting. I'm going to feel this one for just a moment. So this is a card that's an interesting one. It's called Protection. Now, I talked about Ganesh yesterday a bit with telling the story of him. One of his first jobs, he was birthed and created to be a protector of his mother, to stand guard for her while she bathed, to hold her in his heart. He absolutely loved and adored his mother, and he's become a protector for the people in many ways. I could be wrong, and if there's any Hindus in the audience, please correct me. But Ganesh is one of the more universally celebrated gods in the Pantheon in many different regions around the country. You know, in each region will have their own god that they focus on, that they follow more closely. Each caste, each family will have, you know, the one that they have as their main family gods. Ganesh is one of those kind of universals. Everybody loves him. Everybody loves to celebrate him. He's spanned far beyond the boundaries of Hindu culture. He's accepted and embraced all around. And I think one of the reasons that he is if you give this dude some sweets and you like create a space for him, he is all over it. He's like there. He's there to help you. He's there to remove things for you. And I think right now you're in a space where you are feeling a need to protect yourself. What's popping for me is that deep wound that you are holding space for far more than just yourself, of disappointment, of fear, that wound that says, I can't believe I live on this planet with these people. There's a lot of us holding that wound right now. So this protection, do you want to protect yourself from those people? Or do you want to find how those people are trying to help even you? They may not be. They may not be doing it in the way you want or think or desire, hence protection, but they are serving to show you something you want to know and understand. One thing that I know about you is that your whole life is about service. Your career is about service. Your family, your social circles. You are a living, walking, breathing, service-oriented individual. It's one of the reasons I love and adore you. That means that we have to serve the underbelly that we fear, that we loathe, that we reject, as much as we serve the light side that we love and we respect and we feel accepted by. The more we think of ourselves as needing to protect ourselves, as separate, and the more we need to cut away and become separate from, the less that we're able to accept ourselves. I'll move on. Okay, I love you, Nicole. Let's see, says Zion, may I get a reading? I'm curious if my draconian star family has any messages for me. Your star family, let's see. Well, you just got the Byzantine also, but let me check in with that and I'll see if there's something there. And the energy cards are the ones that want to pop up. And I'm going to have a sip of my ginormous coffee. Shh. My husband has discovered that the best treat in the world at night is a bowl of cereal with my coffee creamer added to it. So I was out of coffee creamer this morning. So dissatisfying. So, Zion, what I got was broken heart. So right now, I'm going to feel it for a minute. Okay, so what I'm hearing is you are longing for, missing, feeling the separation from your family, those with which you identify. Remember, we talked about time not existing, multiple strands of expression, multiplicity of self, multiplicity of consciousness. So right now, you are consciously reaching and grabbing the string that's you living with that family consciously. And you're pulling it to this reality because maybe you've got like a giant net over there of strands of expression over there. And you're kind of like, I don't know, I'm just this one little string over here and I don't know how I feel so alone, right? It's this sense of deep, profound brokenness. So what I would love to offer to remind you is that you are there with them. You are expressing there as well as here. And it's time to get into touch with why here. Why here? And how much of them do you need to bring here right now? By bringing them and that energy, that love, that self-expression, the vibration of self-expressing there and embodying it here, you are allowing others to connect more clearly with their other expressions of self. And remember how we talked about unity consciousness. This is what it looks like. So that wounded space inside that feels like, oh, I wish I were with them. I wish, remember what you're doing is because you have such a strong connection over there, By bringing it here, you are creating a space where so many others can create unity consciousness with their other star families, with their other expressions. I certainly gain confidence, awareness, understanding, confirmation by your work. Your work, as well as Vashta's work, show me, oh, I'm not just dreaming these people. I'm not just imagining it. So their message to you is, though they know you feel the loss, though they feel your longing, remember the work you're here to do. Okay? So let's see. And Rainy, let's see, okay, Rainy, let's see, what do we have for you? We'll do the earth magic for you. Let me just see how many more there are. The ghost cat in my fireplace. Yeah, totally. Okay, so I'm going to do just this one last one, and then I'm going to lead us in a not too long meditation on just on healing. How to support the body in physical healing, and of course we'll be focusing on the skeletal structure. Rainy, you got river movement. So water is one of those themes that I talk about a lot. Bruce Lee talks about water, I can't quote him exactly, but he discusses, how it is to be water, to be soft, to be malleable, to be able to fit within any space, any container, but also to be hard and to create a force. I talk about water in readings a lot as, that energy force, that life force, the flow in your life, the flow of how water is moving through in your life. What is the flow like in your life? Are you feeling stuck? Are you feeling stagnant? Are things stuck around you? This card comes up when it's time to get some things moving, to get the flow going, to step back into the flow, to become more in allowance, to create a space for the self to grow from. River and movement. So you can embody movement in your life. Literally, you can move. Sometimes the cards are just literal. You're contemplating some sort of movement. So this is encouraging movement for you. What that move that you feel pushing or enticing you, there's a reason for it. It is something to look at, to become aware of. So yeah, movement. Another thing, I'm also kind of hearing dance for you. I don't know if you're a dancer or not, but getting your dance on. Maybe go put some music on, get up and move around. Oh, I'm also seeing, what I'm hearing is that sometimes you get stuck, and your mental stuck creates a physical stuck. So the only way we can break that pattern of getting stuck, which I also struggle with, is to get up and get moving. Create things that force you to get up and move. Make an alarm. Set a task list for yourself that creates things that encourage you to get up and move around a little bit. When we get up and move around, we remind our bodies that nothing is permanent, that nothing is stationary, and stagnation is not a part of us, right? So we want to encourage that in all different ways. Okay, so that's the reading part, and then we'll just do a quick meditation part. I'll close out with some meditation. So now, all of you who will be listening to this will have your own wounds, will have your own injuries. I'm going to focus in on the one I'm supporting currently, which is my friend Shauna's broken ankle, her little bone in her ankle. Actually a bigger bone attaching to smaller bones, but anyway. What I want for you to do is think about something in your body that you would like support and healing with. And then we'll go through the process of how I approach healing physically. Okay? All right, so let's just take a few moments, feeling our breath. As you're breathing in this present moment of awareness, feeling the air passing through the nose, up through the sinuses, down into the throat and the bronchioles. And exhaling and releasing. Already this is starting to move some things for some of you. Coming into the moment, coming into the breath. You can do this anywhere, at any point in time. Breathing in, present moment awareness. And as you exhale, release all attachments, just like little hooks in this morning, in yesterday. Just unhook yourself from those thoughts, beliefs, feelings, experiences. Breathing in, present moment. Smelling the air, feeling the temperature of the air in the body. Exhaling, and release your little hooks from all the rest of the day, everything else you've got going on. Ooh, we're going to do another one of those since there was so much there. Breathing in, present moment of awareness. Exhaling, unhooking yourself from anything you've got coming up the rest of the day, tomorrow. Don't worry, they'll all still be there. In this moment, it's a release. Now, as you breathe in, I want you to imagine you're opening up your crown and breathing in through the crown all the way down to the root, all the way down to the base. And as you exhale, you're exhaling from that seat. Breathing in through the crown. Exhaling all the way from the seat. Continue to breathe like this until you feel yourself fully present. You feel your feet on the floor, you feel the seat beneath you, you feel your body. Is it warm? Is it cold? Is it comfortable? Now I want you to call up a visual. If you're not a visual person, then imagine or feel or pretend like you are, right? So much of energy work, consciousness work, is about the imagination. The imagination is not what is unreal. It is tapping into a space where it could be real. And that's what the heart of energy work, consciousness work is. So imagine a blueprint, like you've got an X-ray up on the screen for this skeletal break that we're talking about with Shauna. Or you have a scan of your body, an MRI scan or a holographic imaging scan. This is blueprint work. This is how we do blueprint work. So imagine the area of your body that you need healing in. If you are struggling with your digestive tract, you can imagine the digestive system, just like you're seeing a schematic of that full digestive system. Whatever your struggle is physically, call up a blueprint in your mind as though you're a doctor looking at this. Allowing all that is to be there. There's no fear, there's no rejection, there's no anger. We're just looking. I like in blueprint work to highlight the areas that are unconscious, that I don't understand. So let's say for the breaking of the bone, call up that actual broken space and project your consciousness into that space. Give it a mouth, give it a voice. Allow that space to speak to you. Why is it struggling in this way? What is it showing you? What is it creating for you? Does this illness give you the excuse, the checkout, so that you don't have to do what you don't want to do? That too is driven by a belief, by the way. How is this serving you? Are you struggling with leaky gut and digestion issues? Is it there to show you that you're unconscious about what you're stomaching in your life? Allow that space to talk to you. Before you do any healing work in your life, healing implies there's something wrong. We're used to thinking in terms of what's wrong and how do I fix it. What if it's not wrong? What if it's perfect? What if by treating a symptom and ignoring the root, the cause, you create a worse problem? If we have a car and the oil is constantly running out and we just keep filling it and think it's all fine, but we never look for the root, the source of why is the oil running out? Do we have a leak? Is the gasket broken in our engine? Is it burning up? Is the engine running too hot? If we don't know why, we cannot use it as an adjustment. Our physical expression is the very last place energy shows up. First, we experience it energetically. Then we experience it emotionally and mentally. Then we experience it physiologically. If you've ignored the energetic, maybe you learn to tune out to your senses, and then you've ignored the emotional and mental piece, where maybe you were upset about something, maybe you never got to speak your truth in your family, now you have thyroid issues, maybe speaking your truth could only come when you were enraged in anger, now you have throat cancer, maybe, or constant bronchial infections. None of that can be changed until you look at it. You can go to a healer and you can have them work on that and you can walk away and feel better. But I guarantee you in a few weeks, that's going to go away and you're going to be right back where you started because you don't understand why it was there in the first place, how it was serving you. It's something that was rejected. It's something that was needed to be fixed and gotten out of me and fixed and rejected. That's one of the reasons that healing doesn't always work for people. So, find the root issue. What is that injury? What is that wound showing you? How is it communicating with you? As you receive the information, notice how the space of injury that you were holding is already relaxing a little bit more. The tension around it, maybe the stress space of it, the wound of it, is lessening. Now begin to visualize that space in your hologram as though you're rewriting the program as perfect, as strong, as whole. As you make the commitments to become aware of the root driving the injury and driving the wounded space. As you commit to work on the energy driving the manifestation in the physical will resolve. Go back into that space, giving that space a mouth, and ask, is there anything else I need to know from this injury? If you work with me, use your compass to navigate through that understanding. And then just like we talked about the river and water earlier, this is my favorite part of doing physical healing work. Imagine that you have a great big bucket of like stem cell water. It's perfect water. It's full of everything that's necessary to regrow bone, to regrow cellular tissue, to cleanse and clean the myelin around our nerves, to clean and hydrate all aspects of ourselves. It has everything we need in it. It's like that holy grail well of the sacred water, right? Source energy, liquid source energy. And just pour it down. If you've got digestive issues, drink it down. If you have cardiovascular issues, pour it into that heart and let it be pumped through the system. Pour it through the bones, through the cartilage. When we've got joint issues, arthritis, pains and aches that all come from inflammation, that's a storage of things. Flush that water through while listening to the body. What's stored there? What's been held on to? And release. Allow those waters to just flush down the root system back into Gaia, nurturing Gaia as well. Okay, that's my meditation for you guys for today. I hope it helps. Feel free to comment on anything that if you need further support or if this brought up something that you're not sure what to do with, you can PM me. And if you're interested, my classes, this is kind of how I work. This is how my classes work. This is a lot of the kind of stuff that we cover in those classes, but we go into more detail and focus in on various issues. So look at our website on healingpathwalkers.com. You can go to classes and workshops and see different ways you can train with me. I do a lot of recorded classes so that I can keep them inexpensive, so I can keep them accessible, so students can listen again and again and can progress at their own rate. That's about it. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. All right, bye.